I'm really enjoying this series.
It's not bad, man. So I know that I was hard on last week's episode, but I was hard on how it stopped.
I can understand that because after I watched it, yeah, I see why you're like, because I looked at you and went,
Yes. What's up, my know-it-alls? It is that time again. That's right. It is Wednesday morning, which means we have just watched Andor. That is Andor Season 1, Episode 6, I want to say. Forgive me. 5. No, Episode 5.
That's right, 5.
So we review like 4 or 5 things, okay? So and all of those things are at around Episode 4, Episode 5, Episode 6. So it's like I'm trying to remember.
Oh, we've got something starting on Friday, too. Oh, my
I
gosh.
know.
We're never sleeping again.
Never, ever. This week's episode's called The Axe Forgets. All right, man. Let's go first. First impressions. Overall, you said you liked it.
I did. I liked it because it's at that pre-part to what's going to happen.
I know.
I'm kind of nervous, though, because how I'm looking at it. I mean, I guess I'll just start it. How I'm looking at it is now we have this great build-up. Like, we know heisty, we're ready.
Yeah.
My fear is because we have so many episodes that entire heist might get split up into episodes instead of it just being the heist.
Oh, kind of like how in Mandalorian Season 2 there was that heist episode where they had to go. It wasn't really a heist episode.
Where they had to go to the Imperial.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it was the whole episode. Even though he arrived the next day, he arrived the previous episode at the very end.
Right.
And she's like, hey, I could use your help, blah, blah, blah. And then now we jump into that episode. I could see that.
That's a fear. I don't know if they'll do it that way. I mean, I'm totally speculating, but if they like we talked about, they probably filmed this like an entire movie.
Agreed.
And they're cutting it up, which is good. So far, so good,
I
think.
But these are, unlike a lot of the other stuff we've been watching, these are relatively speaking hour-long episodes. I mean, except for episode 2, which was 38 minutes. But everything else is like 43, 50, 46. And so this is a longer version of that. Chances are they probably broke the thing up into sections when they were filming it, only because, well, one, they had to go to a lot of locations. This must have been an arduous process. I can't wait till the series is finished, because usually that's when Disney Plus drops that whole
when they put like behind the scenes out and all that stuff.
They did it, and I'm like, I want to see them be like filming 24 episodes of the show this intensely, blah, 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 because it is super intense, and you tell in this week's episode.
Oh, yeah, this week's episode, because they're outside. I mean, that's a lot of work. I mean, well, we've had to film outside before, so that's it. And it's not just, do you have the right lighting? It's time of day. It's all of that.
Yeah, it's all those elements, not to mention the fact you have to be ready for the elements. So if it's raining, anyway, whatever.
Sorry.
Tangent.
They look cold.
No, for sure. But yeah, so the episode starts with us continuing almost pretty much where we left off, and I'm okay with that. And in fact, I would almost argue, unlike the first 3, you can't have just like the first 3, you can't have these 2 by themselves so far. I think that the next part will be the next. So I could easily see them filming these things in 3 episode crunches. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like, this is how the storytelling's going to go.
You said how many? There's 24.
24 episodes, man.
See, that's 8 sections then of story. I can do math.
Oh my God, that's awesome. I can do math.
It's all right. Just too early.
So once you get, the basic gist of the episode recap wise is that Andor is there. He's with the group. They still don't trust him. Him and Skian keep having they keep bumping heads in terms of Skian knows something's wrong, knows something's up. And at the end of the day, it isn't really that anything's wrong or up. It's that there's information he doesn't have, and he hates it because it makes him seem like Andor seem like he's Cassian rather seem like he's deceiving them or keeping something from them. And in this context of this type of heistiness, that could be detrimental to their mission. So I totally get it. We get flashes from around the story. So thus far. Things are not going well for Mon Mothma. Poor thing. She's just a wreck and a mess in all the and it's funny seeing her family as being imperialist sympathizers. By that I just mean they're very much like, hey, this is the government. It's what it is. Whatever. And she's doing her best to help fund what will eventually be the rebellion, and she's losing her family. being her an idealist, being the one who's got to help stand for this thing, causes her to have behaviors. So she's supposed to, like, I think it's the equivalent of taking her daughter to work.
Yeah, or work, school. I was going to say high school or something like that.
Right,
yeah.
and her kid literally calls her out and is like, "You're just doing this to show that you are a part of this, that you actually are part of what's going on here. Like you're doing this to show you're a mom." And and when she leaves, she says both a telling thing and a very honest thing. She's like, "Thanks so much, everyone, for your support." Meaning, she basically admits, yes, that's exactly why I'm doing it, because that's how this works. That's how our Star Wars-y version of the Game of Thrones works. I have to look like I'm doing...
That's very interesting. That is not what I got.
What did you get?
I got the picture, maybe because I was at one point a working mom, but I got the impression when she had said, "Thanks for the support," she was talking to her husband only, because he was not backing her up when it came to the argument with the daughter.
That is you're probably right. And I think it says something to the fact that, one, we're relatively newlywed, to be honest. Been married about 3 years.
Yeah.
Actually, just over 3 years. Mm-hmm. And so it's funny that I didn't take it that way. I took it more from a writer's perspective, but at the same time, as a husband, I probably should have been more like, because I think I can see in context us saying potentially something along those lines, like, "Wow, thanks for supporting me in front of the kid." You know what I mean?
Right.
I think there have been only a handful of times that we've had that kind of situation with Baby Know-It-All. So, but yeah, either way.
We'll find out.
For sure. Did you know that What's-Her-Face was with the other girl? That they were together? I'm trying to figure out where she's at, but the boss lady is with, I guess they either are romantically involved or... Where's she at? I want to make sure I say the actress's name correctly. Forgive me. Faye Marseille, right? Mm-hmm. Faye Marseille and the other character, the young lady who plays here she is, who plays Cinta, Varada Sethu. Varada Sethu is a really cool actress. I like her. I like her a lot. She's the one that was doing the healing on Cassian Andor and kind of making sure that his wound is all. And in fact, she even says to him, she's like, "Your wound looks really good." He's like, "You're a healer." Like he knew immediately. I did not. Even though Vel took it as if he was flirting. I took, because she's like, "Hey, watch yourself, blah, blah, blah." I took it, it's funny, and maybe this is just a guy-girl thing. I took it very much like he was, like, talent sees talent.
Yes, that's how I took it.
Okay, like, he's very much like, "Hey, you know what? And out of all these people, you have a skill set. Mm-hmm. You have a valuable skill set. You're a healer. That's great." I mean, basically, you're like a doctor. You know what I mean? You always have to have a doctor on the team. Totally. and he respects that. Mm-hmm. But Vel's all like, "All right, you can watch it over here. What's all this? What's all this
talking?
What's all this
going on over here?
Going on? You know what I'm saying?" Like,
yeah.
I was like, "All right, I see you." Like, jeez, but yeah, no. So then you get there's this really interesting interlude where you see the gentleman who's playing the Imperial officer.
Yeah.
I don't see his credit here, and I'm really sorry about that on IMDb. But he's not. I don't mean Ben Bailey. Ben Bailey plays the lieutenant supervisor guy. But no, the black gentleman who's the Imperial sympathizer, who's the rebellion sympathizer rather in the Imperial court. No, the black guy, the black lieutenant. He's a lieutenant. I think they just call him the lieutenant at some point.
Yeah.
So he's walking around getting everything ready, and you see and it's funny. I see him playing the game he's supposed to be playing because he's like, "Oh, that's it. You guys are punished. You don't get the holiday off." And they're like, "Oh, please, please." And he's like, "Fine." And the one dude's even having to tell him, I mean, anything more than a skeleton crew is going to piss everybody off. It's basically what the guy's saying.
Yeah.
And so dude's like, "Fine, that's fine. Yeah, you guys can have the day off." Turning around, and I'm just like, in his head, he's like, "Yeah, that's right. Day off. Clear out. Get as few people as possible." Because even though he's
you don't want they're human lives, whether they believe whether he.
Well, even though he was angry with the Empire for overlooking him for a promotion and even demoting him because of his whatever localized love interest, at the end of the day, he doesn't want to murder people.
Right.
These are still his coworkers.
Right.
That's as if.
And that's the thing that we know about the Imperial. They don't care. They don't care.
Right. And what's funny is you start. So the one thing we established in Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett is that there are people serving the Empire.
Right.
They're not just the stormtroopers. Like back in Mandalorian season 2, you got that one guy on the ship who's like, "I had good people on that star base," blah, talking about the Death Star.
Yeah, talking
so
about
there's people here.
People do end up dying.
So this lieutenant, he's going to help the rebellion. Yeah, he's going to poke the Empire in the eye. But at the end of the day, Phil works over there, Steve works over there, Joe over in sanitation.
Well, even when we saw in The Mandalorian, when they went into the Imperial base and blew it up. Remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is one we took a minute. That's a Mandalorian thing. Same thing. Bill Burr's character, I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
I love him.
He was one of those people that went into a village and just wiped the village out.
Right.
And then his entire team was wiped out. So it was kind of his problem is everyone had, and that was they mentioned that in the episode. Everybody has their reason why they don't trust the Empire.
Everyone has their
Imperial.
own. The exact line is everyone has their own rebellion.
Yeah.
Because that's a great line.
It is.
That's a great, and I was like, yeah, for this guy, it's they my girl left me and I was overlooked for promotions. F the Empire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. For Cassian, it's
pay me.
I was raised as an orphan and by the Empire who abused me and mistreated me. You know what I mean? Oh, and I think the paying part is actually okay. Yeah. So real quick, back to the actual story. No, that's good. Thank you for keeping me on track. So Cassian, he realizes he's got to fess up to something. He's not going to give any good dirt. So what he does is he says, I'm paid. I'm being paid. And everyone's like, oh, clutching the pearls. And he's like, what does it matter? Who cares?
I'm going. Okay? You need me.
And the other thing I'm sitting here going is, clearly, you needed the paid help because this guy is talking at every conversation. He's bringing up, are you kidding? This is your plan? This is what you're going to do? Blah, blah. And at one point, there's this monorail thing that when they get out, it's their only way to leave, but the thing is latched in. And so he's like, do you know how you're going to get this off, right? And they're like, and he freaks out. He's like, what were you going to do if I didn't show up? He goes, that's it. Nobody else is allowed to do this but me, this piece. Because he's like, I'm the only one who knows how to get this thing off.
Yeah. But it took me a second to realize what he was trying to say. And I'm like, oh my God. He's super,
he's very quick. It's funny what I saw, because it's funny, I see him very fast becoming the Cassian Andor from Rogue One. By that I mean, if you remember in Rogue One, we first see him, he's talking to the guy in the alley, the stormtroopers show up, and what does he do? Poof, shoots the guy, because he's like, I'm done. You're screaming, you're acting an idiot, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
He's becoming that guy fast if he wasn't always that guy from the beginning. Like, literally, the way he's talking, you could tell he's pretty much like, what are all you worried about? Okay, they paid me to be here. That means I'm here more. I'm more invested in being here. Yeah. Because for me, this is a job. Mm-hmm. For you guys, it's your quest or your whatever.
It is your own personal rebellion.
Totally. And his version was this.
Yeah.
So my prediction going into, before we go into our ratings and whatnot, my prediction is that if you remember in Rogue One, and I keep talking about this moment, when when they deny, the council says we're not going to send anybody over to Scarab, right. and then all of a sudden he walks up, he's got 40 some odd guys with him. I believe that group of people who's with him are all these kinds of people right now that we're seeing in this episode. They're people who little by little got picked up in mission upon mission, and what happens is, oh hey, you're a healer, I want you with me. Oh, dude, you blah, blah, blah. I want you. And next thing you know, Cassian's building his own group. They're not their own little pod. They're a team for the rebellion.
Right.
They're a mercenary group for the rebellion.
Right.
His promise is, hey, you're not only going to get paid, but I'm also going to give you what your heart wants. Go ahead.
What I found interesting, another part of the episode was, and I don't remember her name, the blonde officer. Is that her?
Yeah.
That one right there?
Yes, that's her.
The one that plays Dedra Miro. She's noticing the little factions here and there, and nobody's listening to her in the rebellion, in the Imperial.
Gosh, that is one of the best scenes,
too.
Because dude, flat out, he's like, why are you so obsessed with this idea? Maybe it's random, this and that. And she goes, no, you're right. It probably is. It's just if there was going to be rebellion, this is how I would do it. And I was like, that's so smart. Because you're like, that's how you have to think.
Yeah.
FBI profilers do it. Like, you have to think, how would I pull this off?
I'd have tiny little things happening at different times to
make them look random. Mm-hmm. Keep it so that until you're ready to be like, we're a thing. You know what I mean? So I like her. I like her character because I like what she represents. I like where she's going.
Yeah.
You know.
What about let's talk about the slimy guy.
Yeah.
Cyril, is that his name?
Yeah, Cyril. Kai Soller's character plays Cyril. So the end of the last episode, he ended up at his mom's front door. She took him in, and then you find out she's basically Howard Wolowitz's mom. Because she hugs him and she's like, "What are you looking at? Oh, you get out of here!" And she's got this weird, maybe Italian, maybe Yiddish accent.
From New York.
It's hilarious.
She's adorable. Yeah. I like her. But...
So we continue the punished son routine this episode because literally he's sitting there and he's just sitting there in the booth at home and he's just miserable and she's like, "Here, eat your cereal," and this and that, and well, you know what I mean, at least I wish you could have, why didn't you come visit when you had better means, and this and that, and she's like, "You don't have any prospects, do you?" Essentially building up to the, what are you going to do, what are you, the classic mom argument, what are you just going to waste around the house?
What are you going to do now? What, what, the thing was, what is your plan? Tell me what's next. Is it...
Which is so ironic right now.
Who's Uncle, Harlow?
Yeah, Harlan.
Harlow.
Harlow, you're right.
I want to know who that is. Does anybody know this? Because I don't.
She's so suspicious. I don't know either.
I don't trust him.
She's like,
or it could be. Well, here's my other thing.
Well, you notice she made it sound like Uncle Harlow's a bit of a criminal, probably, or does something underhanded, and maybe Cyril could be his new bodyguard or work for him.
I find it fascinating that we're following this character because we know, especially at the end of the episode, we're going to have Cassian and Cyril face off again. Here's the thing. I don't know if it's because they're fighting on the same team, because he has reason to hate the Empire right now.
Remember? Everyone has their own rebellion.
Everyone has their own rebellion. So I think they'll fight. This is my speculation.
Line.
They're going to fight, and then Cassian's going to bring them over and be like, this is where you need to be then. Or... I don't know. That's just what I think. I think they're gonna butt heads again. I think we're gonna see more of Cyril. I hope he joins, but I can see he doesn't though. I can see him backstabbing spy-ish type thing and turn them into the Imperial forces in an episode and ruin everything. I can totally understand that. But I don't know. I kind of like him. And I really don't like him though.
No, I'm with you.
He's so slimy sometimes.
Yeah, no, he's definitely. But so I feel like we're gonna see, I believe, two types of Cassian. There's Cassian, who I just described earlier, which is the guy who, hey, oh, I'm sorry, you're going to be a problem to this whole thing? Bang. No second thought. Then there's the Cassian who I believe, I would not be shocked to see a scene where those two finally come to blows, and right before dude's about to kill him, he's like, "Go ahead, I have nothing left. The Empire took everything. Just kill me. It's done. All I have left is my mom. Please kill me." And so literally, and that's when, and I could just see Cassian being like, "You think I like the Empire any more than you do?" He's like, blah, 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 this and that. And he basically speeches him into joining.
That was great.
Thank you. But he speeches him into, I'm Puerto Rican, okay? Trust me. I know how to be Spanish. I'm sorry, or Kinari. Who are basically the Star Wars Cubans. Right? And so, yeah, I mean, I could totally see a scene where he basically is kind of like, oh, like he sees him different.
Right.
And is like, you know what? If it wasn't for the fact that you're a jerk, you do have skills, bro. Why don't, if you hate them that much, let's go. Let's go. Me and these people are poking him in the face. Let's do this. You know what I mean? And now you see him. I could totally see them flip, and ultimately you see Cyril, and then you see his mom being a sympathizer, and she ultimately tries to help chase him, and then he gets caught, and mom feels all guilty about it, or some crap. You know what I'm saying? I totally can. That not as Baby Noah likes to say, it writes itself. Let's go. Oh yeah, no, she's quick to be like, the story writes itself. Let's do this. I love it. That's what happens when you raise a kid in television. Seriously, they think they're a producer. All right, so there you go. Now you know. If knowing is half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. What is the know-it-all index for this week? I'm more forgiving. This week. What's your thoughts? I did last week. Give me first this time.
I wasn't here last week.
Whatever. The week you weren't here. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
The week I wasn't here, you were first. Yes.
Yeah. I was first the week she wasn't here. It's true.
7.5.
Okay, 7.5.
I'm gonna go 7.5.
Copy that. 7.5. Right on, man.
I think maybe I just wanted. The reason why I didn't go full 8 is I wanted a little more. I don't know where, but I felt like there was just when it ended, it didn't end abruptly, but it was just like, ugh!
Okay.
So it wasn't bad.
I'm gonna go straight 7. Same thing. I enjoyed this one. As soon as the episode was over, I said, "This is a setup episode in a good way." In a good way. There's sometimes
I was engaged.
There are bridge episodes which I hate. Bridge episodes means we got to waste time to get from A to B. Built like this is the preemptive before the heist. This is the night before. Everybody's chilling. Everybody's taking a break. Everybody's like, "Oh, what's going on?" This and that. And there's a lot of things. Even when Skian finally confronts him, and you see a lot of things coming to head. But all those things are building to the next episode. And I'm with you. I kind of hope they encapsulate the whole thing in one shot. I think what they'll do is I think you're going to get it in two halves, and by that I don't mean the heist itself. I think the heist is going to be done, but you'll get now you have to have the escape. So we'll get the fullness of the heist.
Oh yeah, and then
but the heist isn't over till they get away. And I think then the next episode will be the chase, the this, the that major. That's where you're going to get your major budget Star Wars-y fight in space and the whole bit, and eventually them getting somewhere, even like a small version of the rebellion base or even a rebellion ship, where they're like, "What's this?" and blah blah. And then I think the greater rebellion is going to be open to them very soon. Very soon. That's where I think we're going with that. So, any last thoughts?
I think I'm trying to believe this, that Luthen is in the middle of kind of running all of those little factions from the rebellion.
Well, you notice they mentioned Mon Mothma when last episode they were talking. She says to him, or he goes, "You want to bring someone else into the council?" So I think that what they're talking about is this council of allied kind of worlds that becomes in Rogue One. It's the people who voted not to go help.
Right.
That group. I feel like we're seeing the formation, the greater formation of that group.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Like I said, that's.
And I think he's the one facilitating it, just like you said. Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys again next week. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment below. Let us know what you thought of the episode. We would love to engage with you on that level. Follow us on all the social medias, and as always, never forget.
Everyone loves a know-it-all.
Yeah. See you next week.